those. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about, we've extruded along the curve. Oh, yeah, let's talk about bridging. So bridging allows you to take two connected edges and make a face kind of between them. So that's this case. So let's say, let's make that, I think it's like a handle of a cup. So let's make a handle of a cup. So I'm gonna go and make my sphere, boop, and I'm going to go in and select my edges, and I can double click to select a ring, that kind of edge loop at the bottom, and then I'll type R for scale, and then I'll scale along those two planes and give it like a little bit of a taper. And let's go in my cylinder and subdivide my height, and subdivide my caps. No, I don't want any caps. Subdivide, perfect. Okay, perfect. I think so for now. No, let's give it a cap. All right, so now I want to extrude this. I'll say this is kind of my target face, and I want to extrude a handle. So I'm going to draw that line. So inside view, I'm going to go back into my curves and say object mode and draw this curve. So I want like a handle here, and then I'm going to select my object and just kind of zoom in. That looks pretty good. Maybe I'll go back into wireframe so I can see my faces, select my curve, and maybe I want to raise it up so that it's kind of more in the center of this face here. So press W and raise it up just a little bit. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to select my object, go back into my solid view so the lines don't get confusing for me. Go to my face, select my face, hold down Shift, select the curve, and then Control E and increase my divisions. Great. All right, so now I've got this snaky handle, kind of an awkward little shape. So now I want to connect the handle to this face here. So I'm actually going to select that face and I'm going to delete it. So I've got an opening, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select the end of the face of the handle, and I'm going to delete it. And then I want to connect this I'll go into my edge selection mode, and then I'm going to double click to select the ring of, let's see if we can see it if I go into wireframe mode. I've just selected the ring of the handle, and then I'm going to go into edit mesh and then bridge. So I'm going to select the ring of the handle, and then I'm going to hold down Shift and then double click to select that hole in the cup that I've just made, and then bridge the two. So let's see if that works. All right, I'm going to go back and rotate, and then hold down Shift, and then double click to select the ring, and then under my edit mesh, bridge. All right, so I want to go back, and it looks like it did. Yeah, so it's made a bridge between this edge loop and the cup edge loop. The only thing with bridge is you need to have edges, the same amount of edges. So I had 4 edges on my handle, and I had 4 edges on the kind of body of the cup, so it could bridge. If you have a mismatch in edges, it won't know where to connect. If you have that and you need to go in and do like a bridge by hand, my cat, oh my goodness, she's going insane. You can always do that. So that is using kind of a welding function. So I'll show you that as well. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to just undo that. And I'm going to show you the welding function. So you can get into the welding function. This is the target weld tool here in the menu set. You can also go into the modeling toolkit, and you can see the target weld is here. So with the target weld, I'm going to go into vertex selection. I'm going to select target weld. First, I'm going to weld pretend like I have 3 faces, or I'll just show you with the 4 faces. How about that? I'm going to target weld. So that is just literally, you're going to select first the vertex that you want to kind of weld onto the second vertex, which is the vertex you're welding onto, right? And so you can literally by hand go in and create those target welds. And that is akin to that kind of bridge function. So you can do that if you have a mismatch of edges, right? You can, if you have too many edges, you can you can actually target weld first. Now I've got an object with like 3 vertices at the end, right? So you can always kind of go in and connect things by hand as well. Right. Okay, so that's the target weld, and then there was also and bridge. We welded the vertex and smoothing. Right. Okay. So smoothing allows you. It won't be very obvious on this shape, but let's see if I can make a spiky, thorny shape. So I'm gonna go to my attribute editor, increase the subdivisions, and go into vertex selection mode. And actually, let's turn off, make sure soft selection is turned off because I'm trying to make a spiky shape, and I'll turn on symmetry. Go. And W, and so you can see it's like making, I have symmetry turned on so I can maximize my spikiness. Let's see here. Okay. There we go. And okay, so we've got a spiky shape, and let's say I wanted this to be a little bit smoother, so I can go to object mode and shut my tool settings. All right, and bring my modeling toolkit back up. So there's a couple ways that you can do a smooth, right? So this smoothing function is going to, we've already added a bevel to an object. The smoothing function is going to do a similar thing. It's going to kind of try to smooth out hard edges. The more divisions you have, the softer your objects are going to get, but again, like the more faces, right? So that's a quick way to smooth. And then there's another function, which is a reduction function. So you can smooth your object, and then to reduce faces, you can go through and do this face reduction, right? So current selection doesn't match. Okay, fine. I think that's about it. Let's see, I can smooth by remove faces by percentage. So this is removing 70% of the faces, right? So it's still like smoother than the spiky shape that I made, but anytime you have more faces, it's going to be a smoother object. So that's a smoothing function. And then I did want to show one more thing that I don't think it's on my list here. I don't think we need to, maybe. So I've shown you how to smooth, I've shown you how to weld. Let's say you wanted to insert more faces just in a specific area. Like let's say I wanted to create like a rim in this cup. One way I could do that, and you've seen, is that bevel with an offset, but another way you can do that is by using an edge loop tool. So this allows you to get a little bit more granular in about where you're adding more faces. So the edge loop tool is under mesh tools and insert edge loop. So once you've selected, what happened here? Mesh tools, face, edge, mesh tools, insert edge loop. Okay, there we go. So once you have insert edge loop turned on, you can select an edge that you'd want to cut. So let's say I wanted to make another ring around the center. That means I want to cut this edge. So I'd left click on that edge, And then with the mouse button still held down, I can kind of drag in and out. So if I wanted to create a rim, I'd want to kind of create an edge loop maybe here, right? And so then that just bisects the top. If I wanted to add a loop kind of along the body of the cup, I'd want to select not this edge loop, but actually want to make a selection on this edge. So I'm going to do the same thing. Mesh tools, insert edge loop, and I'd select this rim, the kind of like edge that I want to cut, and then you can create an edge loop along those faces, which is going to create more faces, more geometry. Okay, and then if I wanted to create that rim, right, I could go in and say select by face, and then select face. So I can use this lasso tool to select my faces. The only issue with all of the lasso tools by default and kind of any of the selection tools is that it's going to select whatever faces were behind it, right? So when I drew this circle, it's actually like drawing through the object and selecting the faces in the back here. And I don't want to do that if I'm going to be extruding. I just want to extrude these faces. So in order to do that with the tool selected, I can go over here and in my modeling toolkit, I can turn on my camera base selection. So that's going to allow me to only select the things that my camera can see, so it won't select the faces behind here. So I can now use my lasso tool and draw a selection around these faces. There we go. And it's only should only be selecting those faces. I must have gotten a couple other there. But I can go in and deselect by hand. So hold down Shift and then deselect the faces. If I wanted to select more faces, I can hold down Shift and then reselect them. All right, so now I've got those faces selected, and I can simply use the W tool to drag those down. So now I've got kind of an open cup. And maybe go in my quad view and turn on my wireframe. Oops, wrong one. Turn on my wireframe here so I can see how far down. Yeah, there we go. All right, so now I've got a cup with an inside and a handle. The handle's connected using the bridge tool and the target weld. And I think